Ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed Hall of Fame show today, all the way from Wheaton, Illinois. That's right, the home of John and Jim Bellucci. You're going to meet the number one luxury real estate coach last year, voted number one, not self-proclaimed, but voted number one. Coming at you hot, Michael LaFido next, right here on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. Yeah, man, we got the guarantees on. You know what, though? I got to say something real quick here. The Mavericks just pulled off a trade, and last night was his first game. Trelvis, what do you think? Is that going to take us all the way to the championship this year?
I hope so. I can't proclaim it too soon, but I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I'm expecting big things.
I tell you, that man, he's stronger than 9 acres of garlic is what my dad used to say, if you know what I mean, right?
9 acres of garlic.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I like
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
pretty
like
strong.
Yeah.
C3, you doing all right?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
I'm excited to unpack what Michael, has in store for us today. So it's going to be fun.
We got a rock star, man. This guy's got a luxury certification program that is second to none, literally. It's like ranked number one in the country. Let's bring him on without further ado. Michael LaFido, how are you?
I'm doing terrific. A little under the weather, so if my voice is a little scratchy, but I'm excited to be here, gentlemen.
Hey, well, that's awesome. We're super excited to have you, man. I know we've been talking about this and planning on it for a while. We finally got you. So we're going to take every opportunity we can to drag all those nuggets out and see if we can just give this audience a real treat today. So, Michael, you were telling me before the show, you actually got voted number one luxury real estate coach in the country last year. Wow, that is quite an honor, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's quite a mouthful too, isn't it? But yes, Agent Publishing, which is in many markets across the country, they put a poll out there, and we've been producing some content from them. So many agents are familiar with us through that or other means.
Travel, oh my gosh, you get around more than a lot of folks we know that travel quite a bit. But you're out, and we were just talking about you're going to be in Cabo giving a certification, and we're going to have you here in Texas as soon as we can get the stars to line up and get everything working. But we're excited to have you come in as a guest and deliver your program. But what I'd like to do, just for the benefit of the folks who don't know you, let's just go back a little bit and talk about your foray into the real estate business. What were you doing prior to real estate, Michael?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was actually a full-time high school health and physical education teacher. I graduated from Northern Michigan in 1998. About a year and a half after graduating, I was power washing and staining a gentleman's deck and fence. And unbeknownst to me, he owned a real estate brokerage. That was I owned a summer business, and that's what I did to make some money when I wasn't teaching. And he said, "Have you ever thought about real estate? I run my own brokerage. You'd be great." Now, mind you, maybe HGTV was out back then, but I wasn't into real estate or didn't come from real estate. But 2 or 3 months later, I got my license, and I always looked at it, Cliff, if I could sell 1 or 2 homes a year, that'd be equivalency of coaching football or wrestling in the winter. And it wasn't a couple years later that I was voted. I was the second leading producer for the entire Midwest for one of the top 20 brands out there called Realty Executives. And I had a lot of people ask me, "Hey, how are you doing this? We know you're doing it part-time." And so we launched my speaking career to a Women's Council of Realtors event in 2009.
So you got out of the gate really quick. I mean, for many of us, it takes it takes a lot of banging your head against the wall before you figure out what direction to go. What do you to what do you credit your early success? Just after you got your license.
That's a great question. There's no
That was easy.
there's no easy button, Cliff, but everybody's looking for it, right? So
Right.
I'm thankful to have played high school and college football and had great experience with really great coaches. And I was an overachiever, if you will. I was on a state championship team and got a scholarship in Division II. And that work ethic, like Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues, right? And so, I had to put in the time as a football player because I wasn't the most gifted athlete. And that same thing in the classroom. So that work ethic transferred when I became an agent. I again looked at it if I can sell 1 or 2 homes a year. And then I remember getting my first $10,000 check, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And so the light bulb went off. And so my first real estate coach was Joe Stump and Dean Jackson by referral only. And the kind of the rest is history.
And how many years ago were you coaching with Joe Stump? That's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. That was 2003, 4 probably.
2003 or
So
4.
20 years ago.
And I know. Yeah. Listen, I look in the mirror sometimes and I go, "Am I in a movie? Is this a time warp? What the hell happened here?" So
Yeah.
you played high school and college football.
Mhm.
What is it you learned from your coaches that it took to be a winner?
Put in hard work. I mean, we literally, we beat Mike Allstott in the game. Donovan McNabb, we were supposed to play. We beat them. We were not the most gifted program, but our coaches put in so much time in the film, and so we could call out plays by formation ahead of time. We had teams call timeouts and complaining to their coach. How did they know we were running the play? And so, it was work ethic. We got to put in the work ethic, and then that transferred as a teacher and a coach. I'm a rah guy, right? And so getting the most out of the talent, I realized I couldn't coach all my athletes the same way. Some need hugs, some need kicks at the rear end, others need, a little pat on the back. Everybody, it's no different than a buyer presentation or a listing presentation. You can't have a one size fits all. So, when I had my deck cleaning and staining business before I got my real estate license, I was a marketer. I mean, I would find decks and fences on predominant streets and offer a no-brainer offer. I'm door knocking saying, "Hey, Cliff, I got a no-brainer offer for you. I see you have a fence. I'd like to clean it and stain it at no charge. All that I ask is I clean and stain the second half of it." And it says after in my company Deck Reshine, and you're allowing me to put a sign that says before Deck Reshine, and leave it up there for a couple weeks. And so that was my stardom to before and after, and having strong visuals, which is carried over today. That's one of the things I teach agents is don't think like a real estate agent, think like a marketer.
Wow, that's pretty cool, Smart. What a great idea.
Yeah. Before and after.
Yeah. Did you come up with that, or did you steal it from somebody?
Hey, I wish I could tell you I came up with it. I had another guy that worked at a competing deck cleaning and staining business, and we were friends, and he wasn't an owner, and he told me about it. So swipe and deploy. One of my mentors is Dan S. Kennedy. And, like I said, success leaves clues. So you can figure out what someone else is successful is doing, model it, tweak it, modify, and make it your own.
Yeah, we call that R&D here in Dallas. Rip off and
Rip off,
deploy,
deploy.
right?
Yeah.
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 So what position did you play? What was your
I
position?
looked like a kicker. I know, but I was not a kicker. I was a cornerback, a defensive back.
Fast, huh? What was your best 40?
My best 40 wasn't that impressive. 4.63. But I was a strong DB. I was the strongest DB in college. I had the record. I could bench 225 19 times, and 365 was my max. So I was strong. Those receivers come to stock block me. I put them on their back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So how big of, we've talked about, kind of the relentless pursuit of excellence and in fact discipline, I think you would agree would be really integral.
Hunger,
in,
too. Hunger.
And hunger. Yeah.
You got to have that. it's tough to teach that. That's your why, Cliff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a visual reminder guy. It drives my wife nuts, but you can see some visuals behind me. One of them has proved them wrong. The other is a Ferrari that says speed cost. But I love when people tell me you can't do that, right? And I thrive off of that. And so uh, Michael Jordan is a great example. They talked about it with the Last Dance. It was a documentary that came out a few years ago. You know, whether it be Clyde Drexler or some other player that people mentioned in the same breath, Michael used that to motivate him to leave no doubt that he was better. And like I have really good friends that are moving out of Illinois. Unfortunately, Illinois, there's more people moving, according to United Van Lines. There's more people leaving Illinois at a percentage basis than any state. New York and Jersey, California are up there. But I share that with you because I have a good friend that we're closing on their home here in a few weeks. And uh, all the data in a other neighborhood suggested 550, maybe 575. And we went on at 695. I saved the text. I had an agent that reached out to me. She said, because we put it under contract and we had 3 offers and it already appraised and we got clear to close, $329 a square foot. And the record before that was well below 300. And so we shattered it. But where I'm going with you is the neighbor 2 doors down. She wanted the listing and she thought they were nuts when they told her the price. She showed it, said it's overpriced. That was my prove that agent wrong. And then I had another realtor reach out to me, Cliff, and say, man, most people would never have listed at that price, myself included. Jennifer said, kudos to you. And so like I'm leveraging that text screen for marketing pieces. Like if you want top dollar, don't hire the traditional agent. And I use the word traditional quotes. If you want someone that's outside the box, that's creative, that uses their database, uses social media, uses video to position your home more effectively, give us a ring.
Wow. $329 a square foot.
That's impressive.
I don't know what would sell for $329 a square foot. Do you?
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, and this is not a condo in a high rise, right? This is
No, it's a single family, but while we're on that topic, luxury is all relative too, right? Some brands define luxury as $1 million and above. So for our course, Cliff, we define a high-end home is a home or a condo that's 2 times the average sale price for your given market. So, Frisco is different than Denton, which is different than Colleyville. And so, 2 times whatever it was, that average sale price is in that market is how we define a high-end home. And we define a luxury home or a luxury condo as 3 times that average sale price. So, I was doing a training in Kokomo, Indiana for a guy named Matt Fagioli in his Explode conference a few years back. And the average sale price was $78,000, and we had a gal come up to me and said, I really wanted to attend your session. That's why I'm here, but I was hesitant because we don't have, in my mind, luxury. We don't have $1 million homes here, but based on your definition, 80 times 3, we have a lot of 240s, we have a lot of 300s, 400s, even 500s. We just don't have the $800 million plus. So luxury is all relative for your audience to your given market. Just like if you're in Orange County, or if you're in Silicon Valley, $1 million won't get you a tear down there, so it's not luxury there.
Yeah, no, I sometimes get amused at the California agents that, are their $1 million is their starter home, and they sell 10 houses for $15 or $20 million, and it's just the market. I mean, that's what it is there.
Right place, right time. Go to where the money is. And I'm not suggesting someone from the Texas or Dallas market pick up and go, but that's one of my tips is go to where the market is. So if I'm based with you guys in the background, I might join South Lake and West Lake's Chamber of Commerce, Highland Park, and attend there and bring value to other business owners because ultimately they have the relationship. And if you differentiate yourself and you bring value, I'm going to Dubai on Sunday for the Miami Realtors in conjunction with them. And my topic is going to be just that. It's basically penetrating the luxury clients, and you got to bring value.
Yeah, no question about it. I just got to say this in case Kevin Shaner's watching, but I've been trying to get Kevin Shaner to move from Pittsburgh for the 10 years that I've known him now. Yeah. His average sales price, it's still probably under. 150? Is it $150 or something? Yeah. Anyway, give yourself a raise, Kevin. Come on, join us here in Frisco, man. Universal Studios is coming. We got the cow. I know how much you love the Cowboys, Kevin, being a big Steelers fan.
Hey, they're my kids' second favorite team behind the Bears, the Cowboys. It's probably my third. We went to the Cowboys Raiders game on Thanksgiving in 2021. We followed them a little bit. So,
Well,
anyways.
we have a personal place in our heart for the Bears too. I mean, Mike Ditka, for crying out loud, is one of the greatest, players that the Cowboys had, and then he went on to coach there. So yeah,
Good coach.
We love Mike and his family.
For sure. Michael, what you were talking about providing value at an event that you would go to, such as like a Chamber of Commerce or a Rotary type of environment. What's that specific piece of value that you bring with you that you could kind of share an example of?
Yeah, this is. Do you know what the most listened to radio station in Frisco and Dallas, and I checked before we came here, Fort Worth as well, Cliff?
The most listened to radio station
In your market?
would it be one of the AM talk radios?
That's close. That's up there. But the most listened to radio station is WIIFM. It's the same in Pittsburgh. It's the same in Chicago. It's the same no matter where people are watching. And that stands for What's in It for Me. So I got to bring value on this podcast, right? You guys, it's an honor to be on here with you guys, two icons. And I got to bring value. When I go on a listing appointment, I got to bring value. When I'm going to a chamber event and I'm talking to another business owner, they only care about their time, how to save money, and how I can get them more clients. Now, I want to be authentic about it. I don't want to come across as cheesy. I want to be in the moment and listen. But I ask them, tell me a little bit more about your business. What does the ideal client look like? Not physical traits, but, are they younger? They're older? They're millennial? They're city? They're suburbs? They're local? And then the best way to get referrals is give them. And so many people, it's about me, what's in it for me. But the most listened to radio station for an expert advisor should be AAT, Cliff, all about them.
Wow. Okay. We call those writer downers, Michael, for sure.
I call them nuggets.
Thank you.
Writer downer nuggets.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious. Were you ever in a part of a BNI group?
I was never part of a BNI group. I started my own luxury networking group.
Okay.
But I got asked just about a month ago to be a part of a BNI group every Monday morning, 7 a.m. Well, I have the privilege of taking my 5th grade daughter to school, and I do enough traveling. As I mentioned, I'm going to Dubai and Cabo where, when I'm traveling, somebody else is taking her to school. So I don't want to miss that privilege, that father-daughter time. And my point is, I couldn't commit to weekly BNI or chamber meetings. So I launched a luxury networking group around terms that worked for me. We're all busy entrepreneurs, so we met once a month. We rotated the location, so it wasn't at the concrete chamber building, but it was somewhere fun that was part of my group. And the only requirement is these business owners were hungry. They did what they say they were going to do, and they wanted to grow their business. That equals hungry, because if they're content, they're going to let referrals slip through the cracks, and they're not going to give value. They're just going to show up, or they're not even going to show up consistently. So we started our own meeting, and we had various service providers that catered to luxury clientele, and that's how I launched our own. And I've taught other agents this. I had a guy that was a Remax agent in Indiana, make 6 figures his second year, and it was based on this strategy alone: bring value to others. And he was very involved with the chamber, and then he started his own eventually.
Excellent. Yeah. So you not only do you train, you have your luxury certification, the America's #1 luxury real estate coach, but you sell a lot of real estate. Tell us a little bit about what your real estate sales organization looks like.
Very small team, lean and thin, because the last thing I want is people joining me. And Brent Gove taught me this years ago. Teach them how to fish, but never promise people leads, because they'll leave, right? And so that's just my philosophy. Everybody's got a different team philosophy. So I provide structure and support through staff and myself, almost like a broker within a brokerage. And we are starting to look at different lead sources, but right now it's And primarily, they can work our open houses. I carry 20 to 30 open houses at any given time, 20 to 30 listings at any given time. So they can work my open houses. They can leverage my listings. And we provide tools and support and best practices. And that's kind of how our team looks. 2 years ago, my volume personally was 38 million. Just May, average sale price over $1 million. Like I said, we've helped CEOs, former CEOs of Office Max, Chicago Bear coaches, players, Cubs players, and so it's really a referral based, business, and that is what makes my story relative, Cliff. Is I'm in the trenches practicing what I preach versus one of these coaches that either hasn't been there or isn't doing it in this challenging economy that we're going into in some markets in 2023 and beyond, maybe.
No question about it. I mean, that's why, we started our team here. We're up to 103 agents and did close to 200 million last year in our third year.
Wow.
And we eat our own dog food. That's if you're going to be in the dog food business, you better eat your own, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
By the way, I love your Texasisms. You talked about earlier something about, I've never heard that, about the was it garlic field or something?
Oh, 9 acres of garlic. Yeah.
The 9 acres of garlic.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned something earlier,
Yeah.
Different slang terms from the north are different than the south or from Texas and Illinois.
Well, we're going to hook you up when you get down here, man. We'll give you the Texas dictionary. How's that?
We'll get him baptized in some barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't believe in buying leads currently. We had another contemporary of yours here last year at our next gen luxury symposium. He actually was a kicker at Syracuse. I don't know if you know Josh Altman very well, but
never met him. But yeah, I heard your event was amazing, by the way. And he's someone I'd always, from a distance, would love to have him on our show. But I'd love to hear what his philosophy is.
Well, I was just going to say, because you mentioned open houses, and he started off his talk with the best lead generation system in luxury real estate is open houses, period, bar none. He said that would by far generate more quality leads than anything else you could do. And I just wanted to mention that because I know you that's what how you were describing. You kind of broke in your new agents is, with all the listings you have, you put them out in the open houses.
Yeah, so we have a vlog, educational video vlog. It's called Lux Redefined, Luxe Redefined, brand agnostic, just great content. We have a podcast like you guys. We just released our 228th episode today when we're filming this. But I share that with you because one of my episodes, I teach the OPP method. Remember OPP, Cliff? Cliff the Third is too young for this. But in the 90s, OPP, there was a song from Naughty by Nature. You down with OPP? Well, not that. That stood for other people's properties. But I am talking about other people's properties now. So one of the first things I'd recommend to your audience, if you're looking to break into luxury, is number one, attend other people's broker open houses. Now, broker open houses are different by region, by MLS, but let's just say Tuesday or Thursday in your market. Go to these broker opens, familiarize yourself. Go to Highland Park, go to South Lake, even if it's a 30-minute drive. Familiarize yourself, feel comfortable, and then eventually get the permission of the listing agent. All about win-wins, Cliff, and say, hey, I'd love to promote this listing with your information. Clearly disclose you're the agent. And then all of a sudden, what do people do? We're in a dating app industry, right? So people are swiping left or swiping right all the time. But if I had my Facebook on right now and I was scrolling up, what would happen is you'd see some videos. And by default, most people, they have their videos on mute, right? So all of a sudden, you see a video, man, Cliff's in Highland Park talking about a cool property. Next week, he's in South Lake. And most people don't even read. They're lazy by nature, let alone unmute. But all of a sudden, they associate you consistently with luxury homes. So that's number one. Number two is host open houses at other people's listings. Now, every state is different. I had an intern for me last summer. He's, I think, my 192nd or 194th podcast, Dugan Riley. Dugan moved to Nashville, just graduated college on May 10th. Moved to Nashville, didn't know anybody, nor did his girlfriend. She got a nursing job there. So he graduated on a Friday. On Monday, he moves down there, knew nobody. But through interning through me, I taught him this concept. And he's done over 20 open houses up until a couple months ago. So he's done more now. 4 million, 4.9, and in Tennessee you can host open houses at brokerages that you're not with. So if you're with EXP, you can do Remax. If you're Remax, you can do Sotheby's. Check in Texas or wherever you're listening, because in Illinois you can't do that. But my point is, he worked other people's open houses. He's going to do $5 million. He's already done $5 million in his first year. That's 125 gross GCI. That's not too bad. That's better than probably 90% of first year. And he didn't know anybody, didn't have a database. He implemented my strategy that I taught him: OPP, other people's broker opens, other people's open houses. And then the third P is positioning other people's successes. So another agent in your organization, on your team, or maybe not even on your team, had a successful sale in a feeder market. In Texas, you got probably feeder markets of Illinois or New York. Maybe leverage some of the feeder markets that send you referrals or that are moving from where they're moving from. And so that you are helping position yourself. Although I'm only licensed in Texas, or fill in the blank, I have a global network of top agents I can connect you with the right one.
Wow, that is really great knowledge and great advice, Michael. So is it a mental thing, or is luxury real estate really that much harder to get into than average real estate?
That's a great question. So first off, I believe the fastest way for your listeners to get instant credibility from their database and their sphere, and people that know them, like them, and trust them, and matter of fact, people that don't even know you that well or like you that well, is you consistently land those high-end or trophy listings or trophy buyers, and you leverage them. And so that's number one. I wanted to cover that. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is there's a lot of misconceptions, Cliff, that you got to be licensed X amount of years. You got to have gray hair like you and me to sell luxury homes. You got to be with
gray hair.
No,
Bob,
not
this is gray hair.
Yeah, your son, not your son. You, senior.
Okay.
And me too.
Yeah.
I got some gray.
No, come on, man.
Your son's looking at you like, I don't have them yet. So
I spotted one the other day.
Yeah.
did you
Pull
pluck
it
it?
out,
I've been doing that for years. I've lost the battle though. So some common misconceptions are: you got to be licensed X amount of years. You got to be with a certain brokerage. I I was going on a listing appointment against top people. I had no collateral with me about the brokerage I just moved to, and literally, he did his research on me, and he talking about disc personality. Nobody cares how much you know until they know you care. I got to know him. I asked great questions. He asked me a lot of questions. He Googled me ahead of time. People are going to look you up, Cliff. They're going to look me up before they even consider interviewing me. So have you done a SWOT analysis, those that are listening, on your branding, on your social media? Now, when I wrote my book, Luxury Specialist, I had it proofed by 4 different people, Cliff, because guess what? I would probably spot an error. Maybe I said there and spelled it like THERE versus THEIR. And so when you bring on others, they can poke holes and spot mistakes. Well, if you do a SWOT analysis on your social media, you might say, that website looks good, but having somebody that's successful poke holes in it and give some suggestions is one example. I went on a $22.9 million listing. You might know her. She just joined EXP recently. Carrie Scholl. She's both out of the DC market in Florida. And I had spoke at one of her events a few years back in 2020. She had a 20-year-old agent land a $22.9 million listing appointment. And he goes to her and says, what now? I have no idea. I'm good at prospecting, but I don't know what to say. She said, call Michael. He hired me. I flew down, went on the appointment. They got the listing. They got an exclusive. And that's our closer program, we call that. But my point is, he had misconceptions because he didn't have the experience. So leveraging what Cliff Senior and Junior are doing and others in your group is key, right? Success leaves clues. Don't do it on your own.
Well, and that's just it. And with that in mind, what you're suggesting here is that for the agent who wants to try to go out and learn this on their own, it could be like trying to navigate a minefield. How important is it to align yourself with a good mentor or a good coach especially in the formative years when you're really trying to figure this out?
It's the easy button. It's going to shorten the time and the number of mistakes and you still probably won't be as successful if you brought on somebody, right? So I use this example. I've run 11 marathons, haven't run one in 10 years, but run 11 marathons. Again, I was a high school health and physical education teacher, football coach. I worked the weight room. I know what my kids should do in the weight room. They're 12 and 13 lifting. I know what I should do, but guess what? I still joined Orange Theory Fitness because of the accountability and the motivation and a systemized approach. And so, same thing. Could you do it on your own? Absolutely. It's just going to take a lot longer. You're going to have a lot more turbulence, and in my opinion, you might not be as successful.
Yeah. So, Michael, it's clear you have the heart of a teacher. I mean, you come from teaching and coaching. What was it that prompted you to want to come up with a luxury certification?
It's a great point. The audience can't see this, but I have a box of DVDs and CDs, a product that I created. It's called the Ultimate Listing Blueprint. More leads, more listings, more closings. It's right on my desk in my office. It's a good reminder. I launched that 12 years ago, call it Cliff. And through that, I had a gentleman who has since passed away, but he was with ERA Franchise Systems, and he bought my course. And he said, hey, you're doing some great things. And one of my modules was how I get 8% listings in a 5% market. So, unbeknownst to me, he coached one of the top luxury agents in Illinois. And she needed some help here because she competed by discounting, and her average commissions were literally probably 35 to 50% less than the competition. So I started coaching her up and coaching some of her agents up and doing some additional research. And I realized that there was a void out there in the industry. I'm not Euclid's of the world on the West Coast or Manhattan. I'm a suburb guy, got a 19 on my ACT, a former high school health and PE teacher. And when a professional athlete or high net worth CEO in the Chicagoland market is looking at selling their luxury home, I'm at least in the discussion. And it didn't happen overnight, but where I'm going is I felt like there was a void in this industry. And so I made the shift of helping, just the general more leads, more listings to really focusing on luxury about 8 years ago. And we launched our designation actually in DFW I think it was in Colleyville at a Studio Movie Grill to Remax DFW and Associates. They weren't happy with the level of support they were getting from the Remax Collection luxury division. So he brought me down. I certified 100 of his agents, and we launched our designation Lux in March of 2016.
Wow. That is around the corner from us, isn't it?
Just down the road.
Just down the road.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Michael, we look at you now. I mean, you're a picture of success, but my bet is that the road to where you are has not always been a 4-lane highway, and you've probably had some real challenges. What for you, what's your rock at the bottom? Is it your faith? Do you have friends? Do you have family? Who do you lean on when the proverbial poop hits the fan?
Yeah, and I have amazing parents, and my wife's supportive, and my kids have been supportive. But really, the glue that kept me driven and focused, I lean on athletics. I mean, I just have that drive. My butt's always burning, and you can teach it, some people, but some people just have it. And I wish I could pinpoint one thing, but I'd say drive and motivation. I've had colleagues say, man, I don't know how you pick yourself off the mat. My last podcast, maybe Wally Bressler, he was on my podcast, he got sent to jail, and he tells a story where he was rock bottom. How do you bounce back after rock bottom? How do you pull yourself off the mat, to use a wrestling analogy? I love wrestling. My kids wrestle, they don't do it anymore. But, I lose to your son. I can't point at coach or something. My parents, it's like, no, he just beat me, right? You look in the mirror. And it's just a great segue to life. Right? You got to pull yourself off the mat. But you got to have a good support system too, right? And so I'm a big believer. You've seen all these, right? You hang out with 5 negative Nancy's, you're going to be the 6. You hang out with 5 over producers, you're going to be the 6. You hang out with 5, you know, the economy sucks this year, is going to be terrible, you're going to be the 6th, right? So replace that with trying to figure out, what is going to work, right? I mean, Lisa Hayes says it better than I do. She said, be careful how you talk to yourself, because guess what? You are listening. So, working on that mindset is key. That's the key, is you got to have a strong mindset. You log on to Facebook, hey, we listed our house. Guess what? You sold it to them and they didn't even interview you. It feels like you got kicked in the shins or worse, right? It stings, it hurts. So how do you learn from that? How do you take constructive criticism and say, what can I do different, better? I'm competitive. I hate losing. I just got a $1.7 million listing. I was up against, she told me later, and she hired me, but I was up against a guy that did a lot more volume than me, probably 3 times. And I was up against a girl that was the luxury agent in my home market probably 20, 25 years ago. And so I didn't want to lose it. I'm ethical, but silver platter, I deliver my unique value proposition on a silver platter, how they're going to net more money if they hire us. And that's proving them wrong mentality.
Wow, that's wild. So
Yeah.
were you gonna?
Yeah, Michael, when you were talking about mindset, what are some of the things that you do to work on your mindset before you go tackle a $5 million listing appointment?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you have any? I mean, do you have a move like Tony Robbins, or do you do affirmations?
Yeah, one of my moves is to do my due diligence. So if you guys were the sellers, I'm going to try to find out as much as both of you as possible, what you like, what you don't like, where you dine, where you went to school. I'm not going to stalk you on social media, but I'm definitely going to try to figure out your personality type, DI, SC, fast-paced or slower paced. I'm going to adjust my presentation based on your personality type. I'm going to try to figure out if we have any. By the way, I'm just giving nuggets after nugget. This is not a here, but each of these could be a show all by itself. The other thing I'm looking at doing is figure out if there are any common connections that, Cliff, you're friends with my buddy Larry. I'm going to try to figure out through Larry how he knows you and how well he knows you and how you tick, what makes you, what gets you excited and why are you selling or whatever. And it'd be a confidential conversation. And so that when I go on that appointment, you're already pre-sold on me, by the way. I use BombBomb videos, or I'll text a link with a video. And so you already feel like you know me. All of our events that we do a video, like some Cabo speaking and doing my designation in Cabo, luxurydesignation.com, if anybody is interested. But there's a video there, and I go over some of the things that they're going to learn, and they feel like they already know me by watching that video. So never meet with somebody until they know you're somebody. And you might have to borrow credibility, those of you that are listening, and you've never sold anything. So I can tell you 50% of nothing is a lot. 50% of something is a lot better than 100% to nothing. So that one agent in Florida that brought me down for 22.9, he struggled with that. He wanted the whole thing, but he wanted to get the listing, and he wanted to leverage a listing. And even if he didn't get the listing, he wanted to leverage that experience. So he ended up paying us when he realized 100% of nothing is better than 50% of something. So a mentor, is important. Like we just went to a nice fine Gibson Steakhouse, and my daughter had a big celebration the other day. And the waitress comes up and she's got somebody shadowing her. Right? Her name was Jennifer. Jennifer had someone shadowing her. And then she handed it off to him. Well, I was more patient, right? Learning. He doesn't probably know the menu like Jennifer. He was good. He said, let me check with her. I'm not sure. Same thing. Like if you're transparent with people, don't pretend like you know if you don't know, but say, you know what? That's a great question, Cliff, but I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I'm going to get back to you on that. But then get back to him.
Right. So the drive that got you through high school football and college football, I've heard it said that 90% of a person's character is formed by the time they're 6 or 7 years old. Is there a point in your young life that you can identify that maybe was a turning point for you, that just made you, maybe sometimes it's a place you never want to go back to. Sometimes it's a word from a coach that lifted you up. Is there anything that really stands out in your early youth that flipped the switch for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. My parents got divorced when I was probably 7 years old. I'm so thankful my mom got me involved in sports. My brother was not much of an athlete nor interested. And sports didn't keep me off the street. I lived in the western suburbs, but was a driving force for me. Baseball was my sport of choice back then. So, athletics from an early age was always important to me. Uh, at a little bit older, when I got to high school, our coach's motto was, "I am a champion and I refuse to lose," right? So I've used that mentality, refuse to lose, and I am a champion. I think affirmations are important, and most people are worst critics, right? And so you got to focus on what you bring to the table versus what you don't. If I were to ask you guys, garbage in, garbage,
Right. Yep. Garbage in, garbage
if you were
out.
to finish this, garbage in, garbage.
Garbage out.
Right.
Most people say garbage in, garbage out. I believe garbage in, garbage stays. So if you surround yourself with negative Nick and negative Nancy, if you watch CNN
Got
or
it.
whatever news station and it's constant negative news, you're going to focus on that, right? So I've had positive people in my life, and that's been effective, right? Mom was right. Your mom was right, Cliff. Junior, your mom was right. She knew she could smell a bad apple when she saw one, or when she was in. And so I remember getting mad at my mom about things, but looking back, I'm really thankful because I was the average of the 5 people I spent the most time with.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I remember grandfather talking about that, and then you passing that on.
Right. It's hard
It's,
to.
you can, what is it? You can soar with
It's
the
hard
eagles.
to soar with the eagles when you're
Hanging
hanging
out
around
with
with the
the
squirrels at
squirrels.
night.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Michael,
Yeah.
real quick, and I can't believe this, but we're almost out of time. But I'm going to ask you for one more favor here. You mentioned one thing that you look for in people that you would like to bring onto your team, and that is hunger. I want you to tell me two more things that you look for in people that are requirements to be on your team.
High character, do what you say you're going to do. I was part of a great football team. My high school coach won 7 state championships, and when I was getting into coaching, he said, surround yourself, coaching staff wise, with coaches that would be loyal to you. You can teach them X's and O's. You can't teach loyalty. So, Nick Saban, right? Alabama football. It's a churn of how many offensive and defensive coordinators, and I don't know what's going on there. They're taking out their jobs, but the point being, high character is really important. So that's probably number 2. And I would probably say number 3 was very similar to number 1, is being coachable. This younger agent down in Florida that we went on these listing appointments, a couple of things he said I ended up going on 4 listing appointments, $65 million in listing appointments in one day. The guy's never sold a home, but he's got some things he's got to work on character wise. And I told him this in a nice way, in a loving way, but I didn't beat around the bush either. So one of the appointments, the seller flat out said, "Hey," because this guy just got his boat, his yacht license as well. And so this potential seller of a $7 million home was looking for a certain yacht, and basically said, "If you can find me this yacht that nobody else can find, I'll list with you. But I am talking to another agent." And he mentioned the agent's name. And this guy, I will mention his name, he said, "Man, you owe me the listing." So later, I said to him, "Let me tell you something. Nobody owes you anything in life. Matter of fact, if you told me I owe you, I would not hire you. So just rephrase it differently. Although you don't owe me anything, Cliff, I would hope, because I've done A, B, C, and D, you would consider me." So to kind of wrap things up, whether you're a newer agent or you're a seasoned veteran, there's something for everybody. Leverage your team if you're a part of a rock star team, with their permission, of course, and leverage it if you personally haven't sold. But if Cliff Jr. is going on against Rockstar Roxanne from Engel and Volkers, or it doesn't matter, Douglas Elliman, and he's up against them, leverage the fact that, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I don't have 20 plus luxury listings, but guess what? You're going to be my trophy client. You're going to get me. You're not going to get an assistant to an assistant. And you give me the opportunity, I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So whatever your story is, whether you're a newer agent or a seasoned veteran, I can put the spin in a positive, not fake way, authentic way, Cliff, to motivate somebody and give them a sense of direction and a sense of belonging.
What were we talking about on the way over here?
On the way over here. Yeah.
Positive and negative. How to take a negative and turn it into a positive
Right.
with
That's
any
it.
situation.
Yeah.
And in reframing it.
Right. Right. Michael, this has been an absolute treat, man. You've really laid it down for our audience, and I imagine we got people that filled up their notepad today.
I sure hope so. I know I did.
If someone watching were interested in exploring your program, what's the best way to have a look at it?
They could go to luxurylistingspecialist.com, Luxury Listing Specialist. We love working with luxury buyers as well, but it's called luxurylistingspecialist.com. And then there's a lot of drop downs to my blog. I blog, as I mentioned, and I have a podcast. And then we also do live streams. Every Friday at 11 a.m. Central, we do a live stream. And it's called Luxury Fridays. So you can go to luxuryfridays.com where you guys can jump on and ask me anything. It's a very similar format as what you guys are listening to, but there's a visual component where I can bring you on camera, I bring on guests, and you can go to Luxury Fridays with an F at the end, luxuryfridays.com for more information there. And Google me. I got a lot of stuff out there on the internet. We'd be glad to help you, whether you want free content or a little bit more advanced and you want to get certified in luxury. No previous luxury sales requirements. I'll work with you as a new agent or a seasoned veteran.
And what time is the on Fridays? What time do you do that?
11 a.m. Central.
11 a.m. Central. Wow.
Perfect. I know where it's going in my calendar.
That's right. We're open at 11, aren't we?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Excellent.
And I
Okay.
know what I'm doing next. Getting my Lux
Luxury.
designation.
There you go. Yeah. Very, very good.
I appreciate it. We've talked, Elena Cardone, we've talked Rockstar Agents, top luxury agent in Houston just endorsed us. So literally, there's going to be something for everybody. And Cliff, I call it the principle of slight edge. If you can learn one nugget that you can actually implement and you can articulate it on a buyer's appointment or a seller's appointment, it's the old small hinges open up big doors, right? And you can differentiate even more. Then it's worth the investment. So that's luxurylistingspecialist.com.
Amen.
Man,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Michael, we sure appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank
Love you,
you.
brother. And we'll see you. I'm sure we'll see you soon, perhaps in Cabo. And we're just we're very thankful to have you on the show today. And can't wait to get you here in person to do an event with you in Dallas. And man, I know we'll pack the house. But I'm just again, thank you. I wish you the best. I hope you feel better. I know you're a little under the weather.
Thank you.
But C3 and I will pray that you get healed and back on the trail quickly here. And thanks again for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here as well. If it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be any us, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a beautiful day today rather than the traditional clouds we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks.
It is. And Sunday is going to be nice and sunny when KC beats the pants off the Eagles, man.
Ooh, I'm going to have to disagree with you there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Could be some
We'll
disagreement.
make a little
in the
bet
Freeman
on that
house.
one.
Okay, you got it.
Let's
All
have
right.
a little bet on
Okay,
that
I'll
one.
bet you at least $1. All
All
right.
right, perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for being here. We're going to see you next week. We will be back right here on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business.
I guarantee it.